All right, let's dive into the pretty wild world of broadcast video engineering. Now, if you come from an IT background, you probably think, yeah, I get video. But I'm telling you, what happens inside a broadcast studio, it's a completely different beast with some insane challenges and, honestly, a really fascinating collision with the world of networking. Just so you know, this is part 6 of our big 40-part series on modern broadcast studios brought to you by Virtualization Options LLC. And in this chapter, we're going to do something really cool. We're going to follow the signal. We'll trace the entire journey of a single frame of video, right from the camera lens all the way through the studio. So let's kick things off with a big question, especially for all you IT folks out there. What really makes broadcast videos so different from, say, a YouTube stream? I mean, it's all just ones and zeros, right? Well, the difference really comes down to one absolutely staggering number. Yeah, look at that. A single, uncompressed 4K video signal from just one camera chews up nearly 12 gigabits per second of bandwidth. No, that is not a typo. To put that into perspective for you, your entire home gigabit internet connection couldn't even handle a tenth of this one data stream. It's massive. And this slide, this really gets to the core of it. You know, in the IT world, if a packet gets lost, TCP just goes, oops, let me resend that. You might see that little buffering wheel for a second on a stream, but it's not the end of the world. In a live broadcast, that's a black frame on millions of TVs. There is no resending. You need absolute, frame-perfect synchronization measured in nanoseconds, and zero, and I mean zero, packet loss is acceptable. It is a world of insane precision. So, okay, how on earth do we handle a signal this demanding? Well, like any journey, it starts at the source. Let's head over to the camera and see how simple light gets turned into this high-fidelity digital stream. In any modern studio, you're going to run into 3 main types of cameras. You've got your big, heavy-duty studio cameras for those beautiful, pristine shots. Then you've got your portable ENG cameras, the kind you see reporters using out in the field. And then there are these guys, PTZ cameras. That's pan, tilt, and zoom. And they are becoming super popular. And this right here is the perfect example of that convergence we're talking about. See, this PTZ camera isn't just a video device. It's a network device. You control it over an IP network, just like you would a server or a network printer. This is where the world of broadcast hardware starts to look an awful lot like your IT department. But of course, the greatest camera in the world is totally useless without great lighting. Before that signal even thinks about hitting the sensor, you have to paint the scene with light. This, right here, is the true foundation of a quality video signal. And the secret sauce for professional lighting for decades has been this classic 3-point technique. You got your key light, which is your main, brightest source. Then a fill light comes in from the side to soften up any harsh shadows. And finally, a backlight hits the subject from behind to make them pop and separate them from the background. It seems simple, but getting it right is what creates that professional 3-dimensional look. And just like with cameras, the tech for lighting has totally changed. We've moved away from those old-school, super hot, power-guzzling tungsten lights to these cool, incredibly efficient, and highly controllable LED fixtures. This doesn't just save a ton on the power bill, it gives directors amazing creative control over every color and intensity you can imagine. Okay, so we've got a perfect, beautifully lit image from our camera. But what happens to that monstrous 12 gigabit signal? Well, it all flows to the control room, the nerve center of the whole operation, where dozens of these signals get mixed together in real time. And this is the command center, the video switcher, sometimes called a vision mixer. Think of it as the brain of the live production. It lets a director cut between different cameras, dissolve from one shot to another, add graphics, roll videos, all of it, instantly. This is the heart of any live show. And here's a look at one in action. Now, the switcher doesn't just mix the video. It often provides the master timing reference for the entire studio. It's a system called Genlock, and you can think of it like a heartbeat. It sends out a pulse that keeps every single camera, every graphics machine, and every recorder in the whole building perfectly synchronized, right down to the nanosecond. So we've got our sources, we've got our production hub, but how do we physically get those massive signals from point A to point B? This, my friends, is where the real revolution is happening, and it's something every IT professional absolutely needs to understand. For decades, this was the answer. SDI running over a thick coaxial cable. And look, it's robust, it's reliable for carrying uncompressed video. But its biggest weakness? It's a one-way, point-to-point connection. One cable carries one signal. In a big studio with hundreds of sources and destinations, well, you end up with a giant, inflexible, and very expensive spaghetti monster of copper wiring. Now, this chart kind of compares the old guard with the new kids on the block. We've still got SDI, of course, but look at the two IP-based options. SD-2110 is the big one. It's the broadcast standard for sending that same massive, uncompressed 12 gigabit signal over a standard network. Then you have NDI, which uses some really clever compression to send high-quality video using way less bandwidth. The key takeaway here is crystal clear. We are quickly moving away from specialized video cables and onto the standard network infrastructure that IT pros know and love. And that really brings us to this powerful conclusion. At the end of the day, the skills you need to build a high-bandwidth, low-latency network with perfect timing, well, those are now the exact same skills you need to run a broadcast video facility. The two jobs are basically merging into one. So we'll leave you with this thought to chew on. As these two worlds continue to collide, the person with the chops to design, troubleshoot, and manage these incredibly demanding video networks, they might not be a traditional broadcast engineer anymore. They might just be sitting in your IT department right now. And why does this matter? Because the entire future of media is being built on the foundations of network engineering.